Why are the Bucks in trouble of falling into an 0-3 hole, Brian?
Rich, this reminds me so much of the 2009 Cavaliers. Now, maybe it's because I was covering that team, but to take you back, that was a 66-win Cavs regular season team. LeBron James was the MVP of the league, his first MVP award. They were a team that is, much like the Bucks in that they didn't really have a huge second star, although Chris Middleton is better than anything that the Cavs had back then. But they had a blend of young players and veteran players, Delonte West, Mo Williams, Ben Wallace, Wally Zerbiak. They had all these shooters. It was a team that, they started the season 1-2. And I think they pretty much rested LeBron down the stretch, and I think they lost a couple of games in the last week of the season. And other than that, they were like 65-8. Okay, they were like an incredibly juggernaut team, but they were not built for the playoffs, and they were not a title team. And that showed up in the postseason when they played the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic had owned them during the regular season, much like the Miami Heat felt really comfortable in their matchup with the Bucks. And while LeBron was great, and he was great in the series that they lost, it was clear that he didn't necessarily know how to lead a team, in under duress like that. Now I would argue that LeBron leading underdog teams, I mean, he has won as an underdog, with a lower seed. I mean, I don't know if you ever call him an underdog, but he has won repeatedly with the lower seed. He didn't learn how to do that. He didn't know how to do it yet. And at that time, that was when the clock was starting to tick on his free agency. And if you watch the Heat Bucks games during the regular season, just as if you would watch the Magic Cavs games as I did during the 2008-9 season, you would know that this was going to be a troublesome series for Milwaukee. And yes, Mike Budenholzer has made some frustrating decisions. If you're a Bucks fan, sitting Giannis, playing him fewer minutes in Game 2 than Game 1, not putting your best defensive players, on Jimmy Butler down the stretch of Game 1. Eric's. And by the way, back in that series, Stan Van Gundy outcoached Mike Brown, even though Mike Brown was the coach of the year. Right now, Mike Budenholzer is getting outcoached by Eric Spoelstra. So I look at the Bucks and I see tremendous team with a great system, but I don't see title team. And during the course of the season, this is what everybody in the league I talked to said. Yes, the Bucks are on pace for 70 wins. Yes, they've got a great defense, but they don't scare us. And I would say that on radio shows or podcasts, or I would write it, and people in Milwaukee would get frustrated with me. And so this is, I'm not saying here I was like, oh, they're going to get knocked out in the second round, but this is kind of the personification of what we watched for a long time.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.